And welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Shane and Golf. Now, of course, what we have right now is everybody's talking about the fact that yesterday the Prime Minister got really emotional and she's pretty much has to turn her head away to hide her tears. It was quite touching incident yesterday. If you get a chance to see a clip, I believe that she was trying her best to be able to speak without, start crying at the same time. However, of course, she was actually addressed, make the announcement yesterday, addressed the fact that she still have to be, and this is at about 9:50 in the morning, she still have to be the acting Prime Minister. Exactly, the caretaker Prime Minister, because under the Constitution, even if the House is dissolved already, you still need to have someone to create what they call to prevent the political vacuum, making sure that everything in the country still run smoothly as possible. However, of course, that's not really what Kun Suthep Theoksuban and the rest of the anti-government protesters wanted. But yesterday, she was trying her best. But as she speaks, you can tell that the tears is just coming down to her, just kind of in her eyes. You can see it, and in her voice as well. Now, she was very emotional, and the thing is, one of the reporters asked a question about the anti-government protesters' calls to actually evict all her family members, meaning that all the Shinawat family from Thailand all together. And this was at the Thai Army Clubs, of course, the press conference that they held. That was when it hit her. It's almost, she was holding it together for quite so long, talking about the fact that she has to be a caretaker government, and it was just going to be because there's avoiding the political vacuum, and the fact that yesterday was the Constitution Day, and she would like everyone to actually trying to protect that right of the people. However, when the question hit, that they start asking about her family, that's when she starts saying that, she would like to, she was saying that anyone would be as emotional as her because she has the feelings too, and that she has heard it all the time that the anti-protesters actually wanted her entire family to leave the country. And she said that the thing is, we all Thais, and she said that how could you request that she or the rest of her family cannot set foot in Thai soil? Are we going to be like this? And she said that she has been backing down as far as she could, and there's nowhere else to go. So her back is against the wall already. So she would like to request for fairness. After she finished that speech, her head just pretty much turned around and she just walked away from the podium. I believe that it was a very, very emotional speech for her yesterday. I think that we have seen before that she became quite emotional when she speaks, but yesterday was one of the time when you can see clearly that she was pretty much crying. And I believe that one of the things was the fact that it was just hitting in terms of her family, requesting that they're not going to be there anymore, and she's trying to request all the protesters to be fair and understanding that her family is also Thai as well. So yesterday, for sure, gave us a little bit of the another side of the Prime Minister. And of course, the fact that she's a woman as well is not going to be easy in this particular time. It's a lot of pressure for sure. So at this point, we will report about what Kun Suthep has to say later on in the day. Yesterday, just to announce it. But of course, a lot of people, this particular clip has flushed the social network as well. Some actually said that, sympathize with her. Some actually said that she would just, this is an act.
Being too dramatic.
Yeah, so at this point, the thing is, there's always two sides of the coins, but I guess I could understand why she got so emotional, when talking about her family. So yesterday, if you get a chance to see, as you can see there, she's tilted her head right away and just walked away from the press. So it was an interesting day indeed. So there you go.
Actually, I would say that many friends have ended their friendship recently
I know.
because of the fight, mostly on Facebook.
Yeah, and that's the thing about social media. Sometimes you would think that if you typed it instead of saying it, you have more time to think about what you say or wrote
Not
down. But
necessary.
no, and that's one of the things I think that people gotta slow down at this point. If you want democracy, you have to make sure you listen to everyone and just give them that right to
And,
say something.
Last night I saw one picture. It was it quite represent that the friendship is not about any color, red, yellow, or even race or religion, but it's about the friendship between the two people.
So if you have your friends and if you start fighting about this, I would say that you don't have to share the same ideology. You just have to respect each other at this point.
All right. As well, I think we have seen so many countries already have been saying and backing the coming election on
Right.
February the 2nd next year. Basically, they would say that they would like to see the democratic system to be continued in our country, Thailand, the land of smile. And not only just the United States, but also many countries. But at first, we would start with the United States, that its government urges Thailand to work out political differences in peaceful and democratic ways. The U.S. Department of State gave a press release on Monday, and it says that the United States strongly supports democratic institutions and democratic process in Thailand, a long-time friend and ally. Prime Minister Yingluck has called for election as a way forward. Amid ongoing political tension and demonstration, we encourage all involved to resolve political differences peacefully and democratically in a way that reflects the will of the Thai people and strengthens the rule of law. As well, we have some comments from the Foreign Ministry of New Zealand, Mr. Mr. Murray McKelly. On yesterday, he also issued a press release that to the respect of democratic process. That is the name of the press release. The Foreign Minister Murray McKelly is calling on all parties to respect the democratic process in Thailand after the government announced an early election. Thailand Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra yesterday dissolved parliament and called for an election following a month of often violent protests. Mr. McKelly welcomed the move to ease tension. The New Zealand government has been concerned by the tensions in recent weeks and the risk of further bloodshed. Elections expected to take place in February demonstrate Yingluck's government commitment to peaceful resolution, Mr. McKelly says. We commend the restraint shown by the Thai authorities and hope it will carry through the elections. We believe the best way to determine the will of the Thai people is through the ballot box, and we urge all parties to see this as opportunity to test their support. Thailand's constitution requires the election to be held 45 to 60 days from yesterday's announcement. So that was the comment from Mr. McKelly. But I think one of the interesting things that we have seen on the news is that the election commission has
And that's the thing, the election, about the date for the election. I talked about yesterday that it was proposed for February the 2nd next year. And yesterday just came out, like after the show, finally the election commission has came out and said that that would be definitely the date, February the 2nd for the snap election. However, Kun Sotsi Satyayattham has said that it might not happen yet because they say that they're not clear yet whether or not there's like how many people will be registered for this particular election and such, especially considering the fact that now the Democrat Party, all their MPs actually resigned, which has never happened before. I think ever. I've never heard about any country as well. I think the global community was quite shocked with that move. Now they say that 48 million voters would be eligible for this particular polls, and the EC will also set a date for all the registration as well. Now, those seeking the party list MP position must apply for candidate between December 23rd all the way to December 27th, while the constituency MP candidate must apply between December 28th all the way to January the 1st of next year. And if you would like to do advanced voting, it should be held on January the 26th.
Another interesting thing is that Pheu Thai spokesman Kun Phrampong Naparit said that the party meeting today, the December 11, would set the voting strategy for the 5 regions for both party list and constituency candidates. And he believed that the coming election would be very challenging for other party because the House of number 111, the former executive from Thai Rak Thai party, are now joining the party. And from another side, from the Democrat Party, the party spokesman Kun Chawanon Intarakumarasut said yesterday that the House dissolution wasn't the answer for the Thai politics right now, and he urged Kun Yingluck to find solution and create a suitable environment before the election on February the 2nd. Kun Chawanon would like to see if Kun Yingluck and her government of the Pheu Thai party would be able to promise not to resurrect the amnesty bill and the state that they have no intention of amending the constitution article 291 and 68 and the selection about the qualification of senators as well.
Right. So I guess at this point, we're going to have to wait and see. The thing is, a lot of countries are backing the move by Prime Minister and actually has praised her for actually decide for the House dissolution. And one of the thing is, I guess we're going to have to wait and see because it seems like the anti-government protesters, that's not exactly what they wanted at this point, and it's announced quite clearly in the statement last night. However, we're going to take another short break after this. We'll come back and I have a little bit more information in terms of the Justice Ministry came out and talk about this particular move, saying that is probably not a good idea not to have the acting cabinet
caretaker.
Exactly, as well as Kun Shane will talk a little bit about the fact that tomorrow Kun Suthep and Kun Abhisit gonna have to face trial as well on the 2010 crackdown.
Yes.
So please stay tuned.